Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode.
Welcome back.
Today, we're going to talk about our recent field trip we took to the Survivors to Thrivers event, which is put on by a local cancer resource center. And there was a couple things in there that really spoke to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it fits perfectly in our theme of what we've been talking about, which is Amanda figuring out what she wants to do with this next chapter of her life and really identifying what's most important to her. So that kind of brought some stuff up for you, right? And you want to talk about it.
Yeah. The one thing that I feel like I've been really missing is I wish I knew a lot more about the local cancer community. So we went to this event last week that was put on by the Hearst Cancer Resource or Research Center here locally. It was 2 hours long, and there were 3 speakers, of which I really truly identified with the one speaker who is a cancer survivor. And he said something that really honestly just like, I don't even know how to explain it. I was like taken aback by what he said, like in a very positive way. Can you, because you're probably going to be better about remembering what he said versus me trying to like fumble through it.
The person Amanda's referencing is a doctor, and he's the head of, I think, one of the hospital systems locally. He had some sort of cancer about 20 years ago that came at the time with a 30% survival rate. And he's still alive. He's doing great. In his presentation and sharing his story, he talked about how treatment was done 20 years ago. Because he's in the front lines, because he's in charge of these hospital systems, and because he's actually been a patient as well as a provider, I was really curious. How has treatment evolved between when he was diagnosed and present day? And then where does he see it going in the future, especially as we have new technologies and AI becomes more prominently used in medicine? Are we going to see what a lot of people are predicting, this almost point of like, what is it called, geometric or exponential growth, where it's progress, and it takes off? And he responded that while treatment has evolved dramatically in the last 20 years, that we are barely even on the precipice of how much it's going to accelerate. He said in the next 5 to 10 years, he believes that many of the cancers that we encounter today will be treated as chronic conditions. So for Amanda, that really spoke to her.
Yes.
Because, go ahead.
Well, even though he specifically kind of was saying breast cancer, colon cancer, and ovarian cancer. And so those were the ones that he thought, and there's a little bit more, but those were the ones that he thought that could be classified maybe 5-10 years down the road as like chronic conditions versus cancer, which to me, I was like, oh, hey, okay, like, all right, I see you. And then I just kind of was like, I was here for it. Like, it really spoke to me. And I just thought to myself, I mean, I know brain cancer, we've said this multiple times, is kind of like a rare and sometimes underfunded cancer, but to hear a doctor say something like breast cancer, colorectal cancer, and ovarian cancer being potentially a chronic disease, that, like, to me, even though he's not speaking about my disease in particular, but like that just kind of fuels the fire and like gives me hope, and probably a lot of other people who have various illnesses.
Oh, I thought he had said most.
No, I latched on because I was really waiting for
maybe
him
he said most, and he said as an example.
Yeah, maybe.
To hear him say that.
Mm-hmm.
Which ultimately that sparked in you, going back to this conversation we've been having over the last few videos of who do you want to become? Why is it so hard for you to want for yourself? You had said that you are wanting to be an advocate and contribute meaningfully to awareness and research and funding of brain cancer and live to see brain cancer become a chronic condition.
Yep. Yep.
So I think that's a wonderful mission statement to start with right now. What about you?
That sounds great.
No, but how does it feel for you?
No, it sounds very aligned. Like it feels there's a lot of days where I just feel like I'm normal. I just don't have a job. Like, and so I so it's like I know that I have cancer. I know that I was diagnosed with cancer. But there's a lot of times when I like don't, or that I feel a lot, like my like normal, quote unquote normal self. And to just think about like a life where glioblastoma is just a chronic condition, and I'm not at all making light of chronic conditions. They are debilitating, and let me just be very clear about that. Like that's also like it can be a really shitty road. But to hear something as just sad, but as aggressive as glioblastoma being potentially a chronic disease, really just kind of like has relit a little bit more of the fire that is in me. Good. Sometimes I'm just tired, but I'm hopeful to find my community of cancer patients and walk along people with their journeys, and all of us just walk along with just chronic conditions and not not calling ourselves cancer patients anymore.
Maybe it's time we revisit launching the support group. I think what we had talked about was launching one virtually, because I'm sure quite a few people who are watching and listening to this, and they would love to be able to be a part of a community. They're probably in a similar situation. Or there's people who are watching and listening to this who maybe they don't have glioblastoma, but they're going through some sort of difficult and terminal diagnosis, and it's their friends and family, and they resonate with the messaging that we're putting out, and they want to have some people who are really like-minded, and they would love to have access and be able to be a part of that community.
Yes. I feel like there's really just like power in numbers. And
anything else for this one?
Nope.
We love and appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Be sure to check out the It's Your Time to Shine Facebook group. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.